Okay guys, good morning. It is Monday at 10:30 and I wanted to go over a lesson 11.3 with you really quickly and talk about the 2 pages that I have to go over, which is the Daily Common Core page. I thought I'd go over those 6 problems as well as the 4 problems that are on the reteach page. So we're just going to go over some of the conversions. Now remember, if you forget your conversions, on the top of the reteach page, it tells you the conversions right here. So this box right here is going to be mission critical to reference the problems. So that's what we're going to do. And we're going to start with this page. But first, let's talk about some announcements. One of the announcements is Wednesday and Thursday of this week from 12 to 2 only will be the times to pick up your next 10 days of packets. Obviously, we're not going to have time to have the packets Thursday and numbers 9 and 10, packets 9 and 10 done when you come to pick up the other packets. So just keep those 2 packets at home and come and get the other 10. And then when you turn in those 10, you can turn in the 2 that you don't have finished. So I'm only expecting to receive 8 packets from you. A lot of you have requested Chromebooks. I've tried to get them out to you as I can. We won't be back in the building until Wednesday and Thursday. So what I'm gonna do is, if you want your Chromebook and you don't already have it, I'm gonna put it in your envelope to take home when you pick up your packet, because we're not going back in the building until then. Lastly, as far as announcements, I still have 6 people that haven't conferenced with me. I really need everybody to conference with me. I have to turn in names by Wednesday when I go to school of those that I haven't been able to conference with yet. So I'm gonna be making phone calls today, trying to reach out to the last couple people. If I can't reach anybody, or if I can't reach you, then I'll just have to let them know that I wasn't able to reach you. If I get a hold of you, then I'm putting it in the computer that our third 9 weeks conference is done. And then you can call me, of course, anytime with any other questions, but we just have to kind of check the box that says that we've done this. I think that's it. So let's get started on some math today. If you have any feedback for me on the emails that you get each night, add this, take away this, it's too much, it's not enough, post more videos, don't post more videos, let me know. Again, we're kind of learning as we go along. So just let me know how I can help. That's what I really want to do. All right, we're going to start with the Daily Common Core, 11.3. Again, these are not necessarily the conversions that we've been learning about. This is a review of content that we've learned all year long. So we are trying to keep it cyclical in your brain, just to remember when we did multiplication, remember when we did long division, remember when we did, so we're going through some of these problems. So I'm going to try and go through some of these problems with you, and then I'm going to talk about the reteach, and I'm going to try and keep this video not as long. So we just did pints and quarts and all of that last week. So I am not going to go over question number 1 with you, because we just did that last week. So if you want to reference, this is still in the packets that you have at home. You just reference that packet from, I think pints and quarts was 11.2. So just pull out your 11.2 packet. That's your answers. So number 1, you already have the information for. So number 2, it says Jillian wrote a 10-page report on the Florida Everglades in 3 days. On the first day, she wrote 3.5 pages. On the second day, she wrote 3 1/3 pages. How many pages did she write on the 3rd day? Okay, so we know that this whole thing has to equal 10 pages, right? So we need to know on day 1, the information in the passage says that she wrote 3.5 pages on day 1, plus 4 1/3 pages for day 2, plus, this is the big question, how many on day 3, right? We don't know how many on day 3. So first we have to add these 2 together. That's going to tell us how much she's already read, and then she's writing a passage, how many she's already wrote, and then we have to subtract that from the 10 pages she needs to write to find out how many she has left over. The problem with this is, if you look at these fractions, they have unlike denominators, and we have practiced for a long time that you can't add fractions with unlike denominators. So first you need to make these improper fractions. So we need to make them improper fractions and then get common denominators, okay? So improper fraction, 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7 halves. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 1 more is 13 thirds. And now we need to decide, over here on the side, what is a common denominator that 2 and 3 can go into? The lowest common denominator that 2 and 3 can go into evenly. And it's going to be 6, because if we list out the factors, it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 3, 6, 9, 12, right? The first one that we come to, the lowest one that they both have in common is 6. So 3 times what equals 6? 3 times 2. Whatever we do to the bottom, we have to do to the top. So we multiplied the bottom times 2, so we have to multiply the top times 2. And what is 13 times 2? You actually have to work this out if you don't know it in your head. So 3 times 2 is 6, 2 times 1 is 2. It's 26 sixths, right? And then up here, 3 times what equals 6? 3 times 3. Whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. 7 times 3 is 21. And now we add 21 plus 26 is 47 sixths. 47 sixths. So we have 47 sixths. She's read so far. That doesn't help us. Now we have to convert it back into actual whole numbers and fractions. So we're going to convert it back to a mixed number, right? A mixed number is a whole number plus a fraction. So we do that by asking ourselves, how many times does 6 go into 47? So we have to list the factors of 6. 6, right? 12, 18, or we can be 5th graders, right? And we could just divide. 47 goes into 6 and do the long division. When you do the long division, you're going to find out that 6 times 8, we know 6 times 8 is 48, so that's not it. So it has to be 6 times 7, right? 6 times 7 is 42 with 5 left over. So she has already written 7 and 5/6 of a page, of pages, okay? See our 5? So that's our 5 left over. So she has written 7 pages and 5/6 left over. But we need to know how many are left. So we're still not done. We still have to subtract 7 and 5/6 from 10, okay? And the only way that we have practiced for you to do that, and so this should be very simple, is just to do 10 over 1 minus 7 and 5/6, right? Okay. Or you can do all of the long division, right? That's all the subtraction. Or you can think in your brain, 5/6 means that there's 1/6 left over until I get to the 8. And then once I get to 8 pages, that leaves 9 and 10, 2 more pages. So 2 and 1/6 pages she has left to write, okay? You can do all of this conversion over here. You can get common denominators. You can subtract all of that. Or, as we talked about, you can just use your common sense and think, if we have 7 and 5/6 and we need to subtract it from 10, that means 5/6 means that there's 1/6 left to get us to 8, and then 9, 10. So 2 and 1/6, okay? So that's D. So let's talk about number 3. Number 3 says, Thomas is using this recipe to make oatmeal. 1 cup instant oats, 1 1/3 cups water, 2/3 cup milk, and it serves 2 people. Okay, so if you make this, you can split it in half with 2 people. If he wants to make enough oatmeal to serve 4 people, how many cups of water will Thomas need to use? Well, in the recipe, it says that Thomas needs 1 1/3 water to serve 2 people. But now we have to double that because he needs to serve 4 people. So times 2, right? So again, you're just going to multiply times 2, everything. You're going to cross multiply. Now, knowing that 2 times 1, obviously, is going to be 2, and then that leaves us the 1/3 times 2 over 1. And we just multiply. 2/3. 2 and 2/3. So that's C. That's a really simple, just doubling the recipe. This is real life, guys. We do this when we do cooking in the kitchen. If you were living by yourself and you got that recipe, you would cut it in half. You divide it in half because you just need to feed yourself. If you have a family of 4 or 6, you got to double it or triple it to make sure there's enough food for everybody. That's what chefs do in restaurants. That's what our cafeteria workers do, because they have a recipe that might only serve 50, but we have 700 kids. So they have to multiply each ingredient to make sure they have enough for everybody. So the next one, look at the recipe for oatmeal in exercise 3. If Thomas has 1 pint of milk, does he have enough to make 6 servings? So 2/3 times 6 servings, right? Except that, remember, this is to serve 2 people. So that's 2 servings. For each 2/3, it's 2 servings. So 2 servings, another 2/3 is 4 servings, and another 2/3 is 6 servings. So we're going to be adding these, right? 2, 4, 6. 6/3 is how much he needs. 3 goes into 6 how many times? 2 what? 2 cups. So he needs 2 cups to make 6 servings. How many cups are in 1 pint? So again, you need to remember how many cups are in 1 pint. There are 2 cups in 1 pint. So if you have 1 pint and you have your 2 cups, then do you have enough? Yeah, just exactly enough, okay? Alexis has a gift card to an online music store. Each song costs $1.29. How much will it cost to buy 20 songs? So 1 song costs $1.29, right? So if we're gonna buy 20 songs, we can add $1.29 plus 20 times, right? That's too much. So if we are buying 20 songs, we're just gonna multiply, right? This is multi-step multiplication because we have lots of steps to do. We have to multiply in the ones place times each number, and we have to multiply in the tens place times each number. Okay, so let's do that together. The first one is really easy because the ones place is 0. So 0 times 9 is 0. 0 times 2 is 0. 0 times 1 is 0, right? Then we put our big, fat, giant placeholder, right? Because now we're moving to the 10 spot. So we are not going to start in the 1 spot. That's why we put our placeholder there. We're now in the 10 spot. So we're going to multiply times 20 in our brain. Okay, that's why we put that 0 there. 2 times 9 is 18. Put your 8, carry your 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 more is 5, and 2 times 1 is 2. And now we just add. So 0 plus 0 is 0. 0 plus 8 is 8. 0 plus 5 is 5, and 2 plus nothing is 2. Are we done? No, because we have not put our decimal. And how many places did we go over? 2. So we go down here and we go over 2 places, and we know that it's going to cost them $25.80, $25.80 to make this happen, okay? So last one, without multiplying, order the products from greatest to least. Let's talk about these. Without multiplying, what they mean is don't find common denominators. And put them in order from the greatest to the least. So know that our largest, greatest to least, right? And then here's our continuum, from greatest to least, and here's our continuum. So when we look at just the factors here and knowing that one of the problems already starts with 2 wholes, 2 1/7 times 3/4, right? We don't have to multiply that. We know we're already starting with more than all the other ones. And when we multiply, numbers only get what? Bigger. So if you already start with more, you know that 2 1/7 times 3/4 is going to be the first one, because the 2 wholes tells you you're already really big. The next one that has a whole number is the 1 4/5 times 3/4, right? So obviously that's going to be the next largest. And then the last ones, you're just looking at 5/5, which we know is 1 whole, and 5/8, which is 1 whole, because they're all multiplied by 3/4, so that doesn't matter. We're just looking at the original fractions. So 5/5 is 1 whole, so we have 2 wholes and 1/7, 1 whole and 1/4, and then just 1 whole. So we're kind of going down. 5/5 times 3/4. And then the last one, the only one left, if you're doing process of elimination, the only one left then is the 5/8 times 3/4. And because when you cross out the 3/4, because everything is multiplied by the 3/4, you don't even have to look at that. All you have to look at are just the original first mixed numbers or fractions. And that's going to tell you how to order it. So those are our 6 problems on the Daily Common Core. I'll do the 4 reteach problems on the next video. So go ahead and look at these and see if that helps. And then the next one, I will post a video on the reteach problems. Thanks, hope that helped.